Good morning, Vuyo. Last night, you got a chance to speak to a lot of people who were directly affected by him, whose lives were changed by him. What did they have to say?
Well, indeed, that's exactly what we've been doing overnight, following, of course, the news that George Bizos is no more. It was quite incredible. I mean, the stories that people are sharing from, immediate families of some of the leading South Africans that he came to represent over the years. We're talking here about the Mandelas. We're talking here about the children of, some of the children of the Craddock Four. These people talking about just how George Bizos was so much a part of their lives throughout the decades. Ndileka Mandela talking about sharing fond memories of her grandfather Nelson Mandela's interactions with George Bizos over the years. Our own colleague Lukanyo Kalata, who is a son of one of the members of the Craddock Four, also sharing his stories and the conversations that he has had with his own mother following the death of George Bizos. But also, I mean, some of South Africa's leading foremost legal minds currently. One of them being Thembeka Ngcukaitobi, who spent, a great deal of time working with George Bizos as his understudy, and then later on getting to actually work with him more as a peer, even though, of course, there's a huge, there's a great deal of distance in terms of experience between them, sharing some of the fondest memories he has of this legal giant. Here's Thembeka Ngcukaitobi talking about the first time that he got or one of the times that he got to work very closely with George Bizos. Take a listen.
Yes, my last case with George was as his junior in the Marikana Commission of Inquiry. He was very sad about Marikana. He was very sad about the brutality of the behavior of the police. And I think he was sadder because these were post-apartheid police. And he was sadder because he, in a sense, was watching the contribution that he made in many, many years of apartheid, when it was personally dangerous for him to confront the apartheid system. But watching those chip away slowly, in other words, watching the gains of freedom dissipate in front of his eyes, that brought him a lot of sadness. And so one of the ways of remembering Bizos is precisely how the state can remain faithful and committed to the ideals in the Constitution.
Vuyo, there are also, some former activists who then went on to become leading jurors, and obviously they were very much impacted by him.
Indeed, and one such person is the former Deputy Chief Justice Dikgang Moseneke, who, is a former Robben Island prisoner himself. He spent a great deal of his time as an activist, but also staying with, mingling with, and having these ongoing discussions for years and years with some of the country's leading politicians. And then, of course, after his release from prison, he became a leading lawyer himself. He looked up to George Bizos, but then later on, like Thembeka Ngcukaitobi, got to have an opportunity of working with George Bizos on several cases, including having to defend the late Winnie Madikizela Mandela, when for many lawyers in this country, it was unpopular to do so because of what she was allegedly involved in. So this man who became, the Deputy Chief Justice in the country, sharing not only his fond memories of his interactions with George Bizos, but also having had the opportunity of having conversations with George Bizos outside of formal work. He got to know how he felt about the state that our country is currently in. Take a listen to what a former Deputy Chief Justice Dikgang Moseneke had to say on that.
He certainly was unhappy. He was unhappy about Zimbabwe. Remember how often he went out there to go and appear for people. He was unhappy about us. Because if you have that kind of moral courage and steadfastness, commitment to a cause, it hurts when it veers away. It hurts deeply. And this is a confidante of one of our leading and first president of a democratic republic. So he knew much, understood much, and he was indeed unhappy.
All right, let's leave it there. That was, of course, our political editor, Vuyo Mvoko, as we continue to honor George Bizos.